My first property, I purchased a condominium in Boston, and I had zero knowledge.
Same, nothing.
So you started with a condo?
I didn't. He did.
She moved into my condo.
Yeah, but we took the homebuyers class together.
For this place in Salem.
But mostly we just kind of made jokes and. I could have Googled it, but
I found it very helpful. The first time, I found it very helpful.
Well,
I knew nothing.
The thing is that also, if the situation was that if you took the class, you were able to qualify for a soft second mortgage,
Yep.
so it's like an easier, lower interest rate, lower down payment, and everything. So they helped out.
I qualified for a program
Homebuyers,
if I took the course.
Get the hell out of the apartment we were living in, and it just became, a college cesspool, and everyone was partying all the time, and I was like, I'm an adult now. I can't deal with this. Let's get out of the city. But we moved to Salem because it was not quite, not the city.
But it's not
city-like, but
it's not so suburby. It's kind of perfect in the middle. I mean, I wasn't as fed up with, I guess, the parties. I mean, it's Boston, and we did the same exact thing for years and years and years.
It's okay when we do it, though. It's not okay when the assholes do it.
But there was like a lot of disrespect going on at the time, I felt. And that was when kind of like Harvard was buying everything out, and all the like musicians were getting kicked out, and it was a very turmoil time in Boston. So I felt that it was time for us to look for something else. We had both gotten different jobs. We were making a little more money, and like the economy had just taken a shit on everyone's head. So the housing market was real low. So it was like the perfect time. And I have like a little devil on my shoulder that's always like, you might want to buy a house now for some reason. Same with my condo. I mean,
I think that's the angel, not the devil, though.
I don't know.
The devil's like, go and get in a fight. Break a bottle over that guy's head. Run from the cops.
The angel and the devil are both the same person. No.
I honestly never even thought about it. I had like, my parents seemed to have issues with just responsibilities, and I saw it as a kid, right? I saw it as, well, I don't ever want to do that. That's like Peter Pan syndrome, right? We just, you don't ever want to grow up and do any of the grown-up things. And then once you're like getting towards being a grown-up, you're like, oh yeah, I don't want to be a kid anymore. I want to still, okay, I take that back. We still want to act like children sometimes, but we also want to have stuff that we can call our own.
I never really thought I was going to be a homeowner because I never thought I'd be able to afford to buy a home. And I never thought it was like something in my future. So I thought about it. Like when I got the condo, I entered in a special program, which allowed me to get like good financing and stuff for like a program in like an inner city program. So I was able to afford it that way. But that was like, oh, this is the only thing I'm ever going to be able to afford. Yeah. And then when the housing market fell apart and houses like, became, especially areas like this, like in Salem, Mass, where it was super expensive. I never ever thought I'd be able to afford any place over here. And then all of a sudden I was able to. And then I had her, and we both had decent jobs. So we're like, what if we put our finances together and see what we could do? And it ended up working out.
Perfect.
I mean, I'm not going to say it's easy.
Yeah.
It's like the hardest fucking thing. But
easier than we expected.
We're very goal oriented. So we set our minds to something, we do it. For me, a fireplace and a band practice space.
And I wanted a yard where I could build a garden.
Yes, because that's all I could afford. And I also didn't want to mow the lawn. I didn't want to do shit. So there's condo fees that I paid, and they took care of everything. Well, they barely took care of everything, but they still...
He preferred to pay to do his laundry with quarters, so...
Yeah.
It's really convenient. Or either that or go down to the laundromat and deal with that crazy guy.
Yeah.
I think a lot of our friends who did that, like, most of our friends that, after we moved to Salem, a whole bunch of people moved up to Salem, but the people who just made less money than us or didn't save as much money moved into condos. And then people who could afford a house, move into houses.
I think for me, it was the best thing to like learn how to live in a place that you own and understand equity and understand mortgages and mortgage insurance and all that stuff. Like I'm really glad I did that first. And then before I went to the next level and bought an actual house, because I had that understanding of like, refinancing and all that money stuff surrounding homeownership, before I bought like a bigger place with more investment and more value. Plus I was able to keep the condo as an investment property, which is this huge thing now, and own a home. So like, not only did I never think I'd gonna own a home, but I never thought I'd own two.
I had nothing to do with that part of it. If that was me, I would have sold that thing immediately. I'm glad you didn't, but I don't like having extra responsibility.
When we saw how much the market was, and we saw how much we were saving and put it all together, and I was like, we don't have to sell the condo. And she was like, I don't want to have anything to do with it if you keep it. And I was like, that's fine. I mean, it's a pain in the ass. I'm not going to say it's not, but like dealing with this until say like I retire or something. I mean, that's like a nest egg. It's in the middle of Boston, Commonwealth Avenue. Yeah. Like it's worth a lot of money now. So whenever I do want to sell it, or I mean, who knows? Say like Salem blows up and we go back and live there. I mean, who knows? I feel like it's just good to have. It's not. I mean, I almost lost it, during the whole COVID thing, but now I'm back on track. Yeah. So
I think it's in the long run, you realize that it makes sense and it's a good investment, and I'm glad you did it. But in the moment, I'm just like, I don't want extra stuff, extra work to do, and extra things to spend money on.
Yeah. But yes, it's a pain in the ass.
But you also have no idea. Like the whole market's so unpredictable. Like the amount of that place has increased in value in the last 10 years is insane. And no one would have predicted that, I'm sure, Mm-hmm. So like right now it's crazy.
I mean, the amount of value that this place increased since we bought it is insane.
But I'm not in a place, actually someone recently asked me, I'm like, I'm not in a place to like sell this house.
I don't.
We could get double for what we paid for it, but I'm like, no,
I don't care.
We're here.
Everything is our house.
We've been here for 10 years, and that's like, I'm not, the thought of like moving all my stuff to another place.
It's not even that. This house has like a soul now. So like it's part of who we are. Mm-hmm.
For me, it was the immediate benefit. I didn't think you probably thought more long term than I did.
I mean, I did. I didn't think I didn't think I'd be able to afford to buy a place without selling the other place first. And it just so happens that the market took a fall just at the same time. We were like, all right, we should think about moving out of Boston, but not too far because we've all grown up in the city and we couldn't live in the suburbs. So we needed to find a place that like had a scene and had music and had places to go and places you can just walk to and all that.
But also get back into the city to do stuff.
And also get back into Boston, relatively easy to play a show or go see a show or whatever if it's not happening here. And I guess like that's when I started thinking of like, how cool would it be that I could make some extra money by renting out this place? I mean, not really how there are certain times where it's a huge pain in the butt. If you have bad tenants, if like when COVID happened and the schools were closed, I had no tenants and I was paying 2 mortgages. So there's shit that can go wrong and that sucks. But like, I think sucking it up and just pushing through is going to benefit us in the end. I believe it's worth it, and I've had good luck with real estate, so I think so. We'll always work with the buyers, buyer broker. I always had a friend that did real estate, like always. Go.
Unless like you are all knowing and you already have it all in your brain, or like, you're in the industry, definitely have someone who can support you. Like do the footwork, because it's a lot of work, although the houses that we like the best were the ones that we found ourselves and not the broker. But and then the actual process of like the financial process,
That's
the
horrible.
paperwork and all that crap. Like, definitely have a lawyer.
A lawyer.
That vouches for you. Yeah.
That's right. That's my
a good
number one
yeah.
thing. In 1 minute or more, get a lawyer.
Yeah.
Get a real estate lawyer. Saved my ass both properties that I own, big time. She saved us $5,000 on this house.
Well, there's also a lot.
She paid for herself.
This is probably pessimistic. Maybe I think it's pragmatic, but assume that someone somewhere along the line is going to try to fuck you over and is going to try to get away with something. Yep. And so make sure you have you're going to spend money on inspections. You
gotta have an inspection.
You have to.
The shit that's going on now is blowing my fucking mind. Our inspector found that the one of the full electrical outlet for the entire house, you could touch that and touch a sink. Completely code broken. 100%. He's like, this is absolutely against code. He's like, this is something that you guys have to deal with before you purchase this house. We already signed a P&S. Luckily, we had my lawyer who did my condo too, and she rules. Basically was like, we want our money back for the purchase and sales. You have an illegal code violation that's blatant, or you can hire someone and get it fixed. And they were like, oh, this was an estate sale, and the people lived in New Mexico
or Arizona.
And so someone had died. It was I don't know, people it did not look like this. The yard was overgrown. It looked like bad. And so we had some of the other houses that we looked at that we liked. We asked those contractors to come and tell us how much it would cost to do what we had to do to make it up to code. And they were like, $5,000, give or take. So my lawyer went back to the family and she was like, or they have a local contractor who will do the work for $5,000. And they were like, all right, we'll take $5,000 at the selling price of the house. Boom. Yeah. Done.
That was definitely more than a minute, but
for both of us.
So having a good real estate attorney is,
yes. For me, it's number one.
I would absolutely have to agree.
And don't forego any. The fact that people are.
Do not forego inspection.
Unless you're planning on, unless they're all just contractors and they're doing the work themselves. I don't know.
Unless you're a licensed inspector and know what to look for, but we're not. Save money. Yeah. Take the homebuyers, the first time homebuyers course, wherever you are. They give you special credits. In Boston, if you're in inner city and you're trying to find a place and you take the course, you qualify for help from the state and from
special loans have low interest rates and low down payments.
So if you think, you might just be thinking about it, but it's good to go and then you learn the process by taking these courses. And then at the same time, you're like, oh, well, you actually don't need this much down if you qualify for this course. So if you make under a certain amount of money and you take the course, you qualify for programs, then all of a sudden buying a property is a lot more closer than you think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said don't. And if you're not already saving money, which I was actually really bad at, I rarely had more than $1,000 in a savings account. Figure out a way to save money. Now I know how easy it is. And assuming the person has a 401k or an IRA, don't take money out of that to buy a house. It's figure out how you can save the money yourself or borrow from, if it's I think that's the one thing that my mom ever lent me money for, Yeah.
When I bought my first place, I was not making a lot of money and I just saved little by little by little by little by little,
Did you guys have good credit?
I did back then, yeah.
I've always had awesome credit.
I didn't from when we bought this place. I had a bankruptcy from a business I owned, so it didn't hurt us that much because her credit's really good. So I think they only needed to run one of our. Oh, I know what we did.
Oh, it was under my name.
They put the deed on her name because her credit was so good, so it wouldn't screw us. And then when my bankruptcy was over, my credit went back to normal. They put me. I got put myself on the deed. There's loopholes you can fuck around too. Yeah. So.
And if it's someone, obviously, I'm not saying get in a relationship so you can split the mortgage with somebody, but if you're single, it's going to be harder.
It's going to be hard. I was single when I got the condo, but I would have been a lot harder to buy a place like this at that time. Yeah,
I couldn't afford. I probably could now, but when we first moved here, I could never afford the mortgage in this place. Yeah, by myself. Although, by myself, I wouldn't buy a house this big. So if I can do it, you can too.
Yes.